Hello and welcome to my channel, friends. This is your Govindraj. Thank you very much for your views and subscriptions, likes and comments for my previous videos. And in this discussion, we are going to discuss on the draft code on Social Security Central Rules 2020. On Social Security Code, I already made two videos. One video which talks about benefits for employees and one video which talks about benefits for employers. I meant to do a video on detailed implications of the Social Security Code 2020 on employers, but however, if you are interested to watch these two videos, you can watch these two videos also. I have provided the links in the description box. Now let's proceed with the draft code on Social Security Central Rules 2020. I am not able to give you the full spectrum or full details about this draft rules. However, I am going to give you certain key points and certain highlights where we will have a practical importance for our application purpose. And if you look at this, all these four codes, based on my experience so far, practical exposure and also detailed analysis and study, I am able to come up with detailed implications and analysis. If you are interested to have a detailed discussion or presentations, you can talk to me or contact me over my contact details, which I will provide at the end of this video. So now let's proceed with the draft code on Social Security Central Rules 2020. The central government has formulated rules utilizing the power to make the rules at the capacity of appropriate government under section 154 and also the power to make rules as central government under section 155. We will also talk about on these powers going ahead. And if you look at the draft rules replace these existing rules which are related to employee state insurance and tribunal procedure rules and employment exchanges, compulsory notification of vacancies, maternity benefit, mines and circus rules, and payment of gratuity central rules, senior workers welfare fund rules, and BOCW welfare cess rules, and also unorganized workers social security rules 2019. And the ESI corporation retains the power to make regulation under section 157 of the code, and the rules which are now notified as draft do not replace the regulations under the ESI Act 1948. So the ESI regulations to be re-notified with or without the changes under the code. So we may expect the regulations in the coming days. And if you look at, the central government has the power to make schemes under Provident Fund, ESI, Social Security for unorganized workers chapters. And the current Provident Fund schemes, which are Employees Provident Fund, Employees Pension Scheme and Employees Deposit Linked Insurance Schemes, are required to be announced separately because these rules do not contain these schemes. And similarly, other social security schemes under the existing laws, especially under the Unorganized Social Security Act, and all these things are required to be brought under the code and re-notified, maybe with or without the changes. And I've talked about the powers of the central government and also the state government and also the appropriate government. See, if you look at the central government, under the code, the central government can frame rules at the capacity of appropriate governments. So if the rules are framed at the capacity of appropriate government, so they are going to be applicable to the establishment under its jurisdiction. It can also frame at the capacity of central government if it frames the rules provided under the Act. So they will have a national application applicable to all establishments in India. And similarly, the state government can also frame rules at the capacity of appropriate government. So those rules are applicable to the establishments under its jurisdiction. And of course, there are certain matters where only the state can frame the rules. However, overall, in this code, central government retains the majority power, and there are certain possibilities for the appropriate government and for also as applicable to state governments. Now, as I said, the central rules have wide implications and importance because the role of central government under the code has been increased. And I have told you some of the provisions which are completely with the central government. You see, if you look at the provident fund, this is completely with the central government, and if you look at ESI scheme, it is largely with the central government, other than the matters related to ESI code and administration of medical benefits, where ESI corporation has not established the medical facilities under its control. And also, if you look at the framework of the code, the central government alone retains the power to frame social security schemes in the case of gig workers and platform workers. So there are many other provisions where the central government retains the power to prescribe the rules for national applications. See, if you look at how the registration under the code happens, now this is left to the central government, and central government only can make rules. There is no possibility for the appropriate governments like states to make rules for registration of establishment. So also in case of compulsory insurance, in the case of gratuity, and also conditions for exempting for the compulsory insurance, and moreover there are many other provisions like maternity benefit, how to give notice, how to give proof, what kind of proof have to be given, so what are the nursing breaks, and also power to vary the applicability criteria for application of crush facility. So these are all now with the central government. So not only these provisions, there are many other provisions which are now the central government retains to prescribe, and this will be similar, or the private establishments are all required to follow the central governments. So therefore I say it is important to watch the central rules for national application, and also makes it more important to watch the central rules and central notifications. So having said this, let me give you certain highlights of this draft rules, and also very briefly understand certain key repercussions or implications of this draft rules. Now, if you look at the framework of the code, there is an exit possibility is possible in the case of ESI and PF, where there is a voluntary coverage is happened. So now when the exit application is made by the employer to the ESIC or Central Provident Fund Commissioner, so if it does not accord the permission within 60 days, then it will be deemed permission. So there is no further going back to the Central Provident Fund Commissioner or Director of ESIC Corporation. So however, there is a riders are provided. Employer cannot apply for the inapplicability if the provisions applicable as a regular coverage by meeting the required number of employees. So if the coverage happens as per the code provisions, then there is no possibility to exit from these schemes, and no such application will also be entertained within 5 years from the voluntary coverage. So this is the limitation on the exits. Once voluntarily covered means you cannot exit within the 5 years from such coverage. And Shram Suvidha portal will assume more and more importance, because the registration related provisions will get handled through this portal, because this provision has got national application. And auto generation of certification is provided if the application for registration is completed in all respects, and the RC or the certificate of registration is not issued within 7 days. So there will be a auto generation will happen from this Shram Suvidha portal. And the RC also will have a validity period of 24 months, and this will expire if there is no compliance is made by that establishment. However, what is this compliance is not defined. It can also mean that if there is a regular compliance like submission of returns and other things, the RC is expected to be perpetual or permanent unless it is revoked or cancelled or surrendered. And the establishments who already have registered under existing central laws like Provident Fund and ESI, they are also required to update their details in the Shram Suvidha portal, and the system may generate a new certificate or new number. So this we will have to wait and see. And the employer is required to quote this certificate number for all the purposes of the code, which includes ESI, PF and other provisions. And provisions are explained for constitution of National Security Board for unorganized workers, and also a separate board for gig workers and platform workers. Now going ahead friends, the provisions related to managing provident fund provisions and ESI corporation, social security boards are all explained in the rules, and the rate of contribution in case of ESI scheme is not defined or not prescribed in the code, whereas in the code it is left to the central government to prescribe. So under these rules, the rate of ESI contribution is prescribed as the employer contribution remains at 3.25%, the employee's contribution is at 0.75%, and the total contribution tally to 4% of the wages. And if you look at in the ESI scheme, there is also possibility to pay funeral expenses in case of death of an insured employee. Now this funeral expenses is left to the corporation as per the rules, whereas if you look at the code, this power is with the central government under section 32(1) of the code. So now based on this rule, the corporation is required to notify what is the funeral expenses payable in case of death of an insured person. And confinement expenses in case of delivery for an insured woman and insured person in respect of his wife now is set at rupees 7,500 under ESI provisions. However, these confinement expenses are only payable if the ESI corporation or ESI medical facilities are not available in that area. If you look at the maternity benefit provisions, these expenses are set at rupees 3,500 in the code or as specified by the central government. So therefore, this needs to be taken up with the ministry for equality between the ESI and also maternity benefit provisions, and in all probability the central government may re-notify this limit as 7,500. And nomination related rules and forms for gratuity purposes are all prescribed in the rules. Similarly, the information related to payment of gratuity made by the employer is also required to be given to the competent authority of the area as well as provided in the rules. And application for maternity benefit and the proof which is required to be submitted in all cases of benefits are prescribed in the rules. Moreover, the clarity is provided for the applicability of creche. So if you look at current law, as per the Maternity Benefit Act 1961, the creche is required to be provided from an establishment which has got 50 or more employees, and there were a lot of interpretation because it did not say whether women employees or all the employees. And even in the code, there are similar provisions are brought, and it also talks about 50 or more employees without specifying the gender of the employees. Now the rules comes to our help. The rules talks about where 50 or more employees, more women employees are ordinarily employed, so then only the creche facility is required to be provided and not the count of all the employees is required to be taken. So this is one of the important clarification which is coming from the draft rules on Social Security Code 2020. So going ahead, interest rate in the case of delay payment of building cess is set at 1% for every month or part of a month, and also in case you don't pay the building cess, the penalty is set at an amount equal to the cess amount. So this provision is also brought, and provisions for electronic registration of unorganized workers, gig and platform workers are all provided, and on such registration they will be provided with unique registration number. So what is the portal to be registered, or all these things are yet to be notified by the central government. And if you look at also the procedure for compounding offences is provided in the code. Now the authorized officer under the code is going to give a compounding notice as soon as the offence is registered or instituted, and if the employer does not take up this opportunity and does not pay the compounding amount, so he will also have an opportunity to compound before the court. If the compounding takes place before the court, then the provisions of section 320 of Criminal Procedure Code are going to be applied, and the court is obligated to follow the procedure, including certain eligibility criteria and other provisions of CRPC section 320. There is one more important provision which is related to employment information and monitoring. So now the appropriate government can establish, run and maintain career center which will facilitate for people who seek employment, and the current employment exchanges will continue as career center until such establishment takes place. And now these centers, in addition to employment information and vacancy exchanges, will also offer vocational guidance, career counseling or guidance to start self-employment. Reporting of vacancies to be done to the career center, and the date from which such reporting to be done will be as per the notification of the appropriate government. So once we know that date and everything, so all employers are required to report the vacancies in their companies. And now the application for the private sector is set at for an establishment which has employed ordinarily 50 or more employees. So less than 50 employees, establishments are not required to report these vacancies, whereas the code prescribes that 20 or more employees are such number as notified by the central government. So since the central government has the power to prescribe this number of employees coverage for the notification of vacancies, now the central government in the rules has fixed ordinarily 50 or more employees. So this clarity has also come in the code. Now vacancies of technical and scientific nature with certain pay levels, and also the vacancies which are of all India basis, are required to be notified to the career center which is established at the central level, and all other vacancies are required to be reported to career center regional which are at the state level. So now the employers are required to report the vacancies to both central career center and also regional career centers. And vacancies which are reportable to career center regional are required to be notified at least 15 days before the last date for receipt of applications from the prospective candidates, whereas in the case of career center central, so within 45 days before the last date for receipt of application from the prospective candidates to be reported to career center central. And employer is also made to maintain certain records and information like related to persons recruited in the year, vacancies which were not filled, etc. These are all required to be maintained under the provisions of the rules. And also employer is also made to file an annual return, or we call it as employment information report, within 30 days of the due date. The due date is set at 31st of March every year. So if you look at today's law, which is compulsory notification of vacancies act, as per this quarterly return as well as biannual returns, whereas in the new rules talks about only annual returns and also reporting of vacancies, so as and when occurs. An abstract on the maternity benefit is prescribed under the rules, which needs to be displayed at the notice board by the employer. So there is also an abstract available, and the responsibility is cast on the employer. And moreover, finally friends, a lot is going to happen digitally or electronically. And if you look at the rules, the Shram Suvidha portal is already mentioned, and some more portals for other purposes are going to be notified in the coming days. So friends, thank you very much for watching my video so far, and please do subscribe this channel for more updates. Share it to as many people as you wish, and also don't forget to like and comment these videos. And if you have any doubts or if you need any detailed discussion or presentation, so you can talk to me or you can get in touch with me. My coordinates are provided here. So friends, thank you very much for watching my video, and we will see you back with the new videos and new information in the days ahead. Thank you very much, and see you soon friends.